Let's go. Okay guys, it's Salvies, it's me, and let's get this party started. So I have a class to attend, and this is Traffic Center. I know. I'm so excited guys because I don't know. So it's time for Dubstars to just have some fun. Hi Whitney. I know. Welcome to Hair World. Yeah. So this is where you know that I'm really a stylist. Is when I have to go in there. Guys, hello. So, oh my God, it's dark in here. Honey. Okay. Yes, guys. Yeah, this way. Yeah, so you guys should do this first. I know. I was like, someday I have to edit. Yeah, so this way you guys know that I'm actually a stylist in the hair industry, in the hair and beauty. Yes. There's a place I have to go to. I have a class at, let's see, I know they'll give you a badge, and this is my, you have to have that stuff there. Oh wow.
So if someone buys it?
Oh, nice. I know, I wish you guys could be there with me. Beautiful place. That's whenever I come here, I just want to buy. But today, I'll be doing more video, like come here because of classes, not classes, because of work, right? And I get to check people's hair just to see what's the trend and what people consider, you know. Oh, nice. I know. Guys, you don't want to see.
Yes, like insane feels.
He's giving me life with that suit because it's my favorite suit. Guys, I'm so happy that I don't have to edit this. Like I'm giving you guys raw vlogging. This is Sunny. Oh, her blonde is so nice. Gorgeous hair. So she has nice hair, which is good. Oh, wait, for the first time, I'm not going to the restaurant, but I'm looking for someone. I've not seen her yet.
Flat irons, blow dryers, curling irons, and cookies. If you tie the chicken,
you always have to check your stuff in. Else you're like, money. Sorry, I'm so sorry, guys. Yes, okay, guys, this is my world, okay? I'm now in my session.
I like to do that in the front too. So I like to take all of the hair and wrap it around the front of the head too. So I pull it up this way, let her hair fall, and create that connection. Okay, so now I leave enough so that I can go in and I can whittle away at it, and I still know that I've got enough hair to cut that off, but I'm not going to end up too short by the time all is said and done. Okay?
Good, nice. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. I'm so happy, see? Like, guys. Yeah.
So this helps keep it a more believable style.
With this, I know I'm not the only stylist in my studio, you know?
Look good. Look really good.
See? That just takes me away. I love it.
So all the stuff I don't like this, that's too heavy. I don't like this, that's too heavy. Those are all the places that I'm going to come in with my razor and get rid of. Okay? So very soft. I'm just going to start to come in and lighten that up just a little.
I told her all the way here, I'm like, by the way,
Where her hair drops,
my bag.
I start that connection. So where her hair
Always pick up
drops,
tweaks when you come there. Oh, that's
So all I'm doing is just texturizing that out.
I know I do need a new blow dryer, but that's the thing. So that's oh my gosh. You guys taking a look?
If I can really, really, really polish it off by finishing that up. Just coming in and taking a little bit of her own hair out
Oh, this is good. You see that?
to just create a real seamless blend into the extensions. Okay. So I just do a little bit at a time and a little bit at a time and a little bit at a time until it's perfect.
I know.
Now this is all 100% human, right? Hair. So the first time she washes it and blow dries everything all together, she's also going to get a really nice filling out of honey. Okay, I want to create that connection while I'm in motion.
I know. That's much better. My arms feel.
And I always leave plenty of hair there. I'm not worried so much about this yet. Okay, I want to leave enough hair that I can take plenty of it out whenever I need to or want to. Because once it's gone, right?
Yes, it is.
So I drop my next layer
You
down,
can never
and
add
that
more, but you
becomes.
can take off more.
I start with it where I stopped with the last
Guys,
one.
I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. I know, I'm so happy I don't
And
have
I
to
start
edit this. It's
angling that
vlogging,
down
guys.
in. Now, not only do I do it at the bottom, but this is where it becomes important again. In
So
order
she has extensions in the hair, but
it
she's
looks like it's part of
blending
her
it
hair.
nicely together.
It
Which is
has to connect to the hair in the back of her head. Okay? So this section right here of extension that I have, not only do I want to cut it at a 0-degree elevation, but I also want to cut it at an elevated section for holding it up. Okay? So that where this hair in the back of her hair stops, okay, that's where I'm going to start this, so that there's a connection from the back to the front of her head. Okay? So I hold it up, and I'm going to come in and do some deep point cutting into that as well.
I must say I like the extensions too. It's very natural. It's like the one I do, which is handmade. So this is
Pull that up. This is going to be basically the last section of my bottom length.
yeah, that
So
noise
I
is
just finished that off.
the hair work
Here's my
going
connection.
crazy over there. Oh yeah.
From the back. Okay, so what I do is I take a vertical section this way, and I'm going to hold it out. Be mindful to drop out that bottom guide so I don't cut into the length. But then from where her hair stops, that's where I want to come in and I want to create a connection in here. Okay? So I let it slide out of my fingers, and I either take a razor or my shears through it, and I slide cut that. So that I know there's a connection from the top to the bottom and the front to the back, both.
You see, hairstylists were
Alright,
crazy.
so now this is where I like to wrap it around. So I will pull off, meaning I've still left that to kind of preserve it and take off whatever I need to at the very end to give me my length and match on the other side. Okay? Now, she's got a little heavy section on this side. You can see right here of her own hair. I'm going to come in and I'm going to texturize that out
love seeing
so that it
different types
matches
of
better. Okay?
I think I'm a blondie. I have to.
All right, that's why I'm choosing to use my shears as well for the majority of the cut. Because I want it to still
Guys, I
look
love the technique she's
full
doing
or
because
thick on the ends.
soft effortless. I know I don't know why I have glasses on on today, but I've already started with glasses sample. It makes no sense.
It's good,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yes, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the technology. I was like, oh my gosh.
Thank you. Yeah. It looks
Guys, I was looking at it, I was like, I love how it's soft.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have to come up and see what's going on.
Right? Like you can see it. It's like, oh my gosh, she wants to
Yes. And then did that, but see, it was so nice. Like, the effects, and it feels so natural, guys. Like, hello. They look spanking.
Yes, dude. You like?
Oh, I love it. And that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's why I said I went from short to long, so it's fun. You can do it with the wind. Yeah, now it doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be just to change your cut.
Nice.
You don't have to wait for it to grow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's bye, guys. I'll see you soon. Oh my god, I'm in a... Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you, guys.
Hello.
Oh my God.
I'm here with my friend.
Yes.
What's your name?
I'm Daniel. Yes.
Damiel.
Yeah.
There you go.
I always see you on Olaplex Lasers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I always watch your videos like
Thank
crazy.
you.
Yeah. And
Pleasure to meet you.
Right, you too. Thank you so much.
How do you say it? Damio?
Yes, yes, Daniel. Yes.
I'll look for it.
No, no problem.
All right, Damio.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna do a parallel line to it, following the same pattern, just so I can make it pop.
Yes, let's make that haircut pop.
Same thing, but when I draw a parallel line, I want to make sure that the line is exactly parallel to it. So basically, leave the same gap all the way around.
Is it all making sense so far? Yeah? Any questions about anything that we're doing? If it's really short, it only goes up. I've had it before in the back. So for example, this half right here, this is growing this way. This is growing that way. So yeah, growth patterns for the neck area at the bottom. Oh no.
Oh my god, I love her hair. I had I'm sorry. I may get some of these brushes. So I saw them too. That's amazing.
Could have put the number 2 in the name and said, "Look, sir, are you sure you want this? Because I can tell by the way you look, you don't wear a 2 all the way around." That was being lazy, that was being complacent, and that was building somewhat of a client, because he only got that money one time. How to build clients? I build relationships. Relationships are what build our careers. Relationships is what keeps long term. I've been behind my chair 19 years. This September will make 20 years. I've been cutting the same people all this time. I prefer to do that. We build relationships. They work with me, I work with them, and this is how I maximize my career. I live with a phrase, you never work a day in your life when you love what you do, and it's a fact. By building these relationships, whether in or outside the shop, it's gonna give you that energy, that drive, that persistence, and that passion to keep coming back in there. But I'm gonna stop talking about the put some hair on the floor. When I want to work, I'm gonna focus on the 2 things you're doing.
That's the thing when you say you will not buy anything, you will buy everything.
I know. So bad.
Every time
I have like a shop like this, so this is like
I would have first start with the tool facing
Yeah.
door.
I said I'm not buying
After I was
anything
pretty cool, my
else.
walk recognize, I want to essentially
I just spent $500 and I said I wasn't buying anything.
One shag type of inspirational lettuce. Now, when we're talking about product recommendation, retail sales, I think whether you're in a booth rental salon or a commission salon, there's always an incentive to be able to retail, right? Part of it, as we say, is to get the client to recreate the same experience, because essentially that's what they're paying us for. They're not paying us for the hairstyle, they're paying us for the experience. What they feel like.
It was not extreme, so
I signed up for
when you're without the our guard here. Adding that computer rate, punching it down, by making it solving it. There's also parts right the whole way. Now adding the point to all the
gorgeous hair. Oh my gosh. I could just wear it on my face. Gorgeous. I love that color so much. Nice hair. Oh, no way. Hi guys. Oh my gosh. Hey guys. Oh wow, it's so nice. Oh yes, of course. Are you kidding me? I have one of the studios in Boston. Yeah. I've been there for 9 months now in Boston.
In Sola?
That's right, yes. That's why I was like, oh my gosh.
So you have your own business?
Oh yes, yes I do.
That's great. What do you do?
I'm a hairstylist, so yeah, full service. So that way it's easier for me to come to classes here and go back.
And just do your own thing. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad.
Look, I'm going to be so happy. I have to show this thing, yes, because you'll be like, hey guys, Sola, yes. Sola Studios right there. I don't believe me. It wasn't part of the video, guys.
You guys will have a chance to see all this. So this is one option. I don't know if you can move any further, but do you see that? Can you see that? It's coming in at a diagonal. And then you want to be careful not to flip up if you're doing this, not all of the lightener to the very top. You can just come up halfway. Or if you're dealing with really, really long hair and you want this effect, you could use a much longer foil, and then you could simply place another foil on top of it. In pinwheel fashion, working with the round of the head, our lightener is drying out quickly in this cold room. So you don't really want people to know where the highlights begin and end. And by not doing a traditional highlighting, you won't know where they begin or they end. So we're actually gonna, so again, this is not just gonna be like this. I'm gonna slightly veer my body, slightly change the angle because I'm gonna start working with the round of the head. You see how that angle is a little bit different than the last one that I did? It's starting because my guideline is this temple, okay? So it's gonna start rounding off. And you know what I'm gonna do too when I'm done? So that those of you that are getting my backside, I'll do the other side, okay? 9 times out of 10, our clients don't even need the nape area below the occipital color. If you would like, you could add some underneath, but this is a quick way to get almost a full head highlight look without having to do much. So again, I'm skipping between a ½ inch and an inch, and I'm working with the round of the head. Just like in cutting, my body, my hands, everything is right in front of my parting. We're almost getting in line with the temple area. So you're working with the round of the head, and again, it's just as in hair cutting, we're always worried about guidelines. You can also have a guideline when you are highlighting. So I'm going to start up here, but my guideline is the temple. So again, I'm working with the round of the head. This is my guideline. I moved a little bit this way. It's going to veer a little bit this way. You see, each foil will work the way. So I'm going to come and working with the round of the head. I was just going to say, over the years, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've become more ambidextrous. A little of it in between. Did you ever do that? That's one. Get them. You know the makeup brushes, not the blushers, but what's the thin one? What's the thin one? Yeah, the angle brush, and take a little of, just a little bit of the lightener. Not for her, because we're not getting close to the scalp, but for a blonde, or if you're using the same technique on a guy who has mostly gray and you're using dark color, take a little bit of that eye brush and dip in between. Those little tricks are, well, I'll show you. If we can get a little conditioner, does anybody have maybe or a little bit of the color lock? That would be great. In a bowl. I think there's a bowl well, there's lots of bowls actually. Because unfortunately I can't live demonstrate it on Alex because we don't want, but what I will show you is how to do it. So we'll hold off on that for a minute. What I like to do, this would be for a lot of my blondes and or for a lot of my male lowlights. When the hair is, so blondes where you're getting close to the scalp, and men who have gray hair who you're low lighting through with a darker color, I will often come through with the color. This would be the color that I'm using. And I use the end of a makeup brush or the end of one of these and come through and freeform it a little bit through the ends. This is my favorite, and this is where the money is. So you're not getting too close to the scalp, but a little bit like this never hurt anybody. And with a blonde, it's nice because if you do this at the end, the developer that you've used throughout, the developer strength goes down. So by the time you're done, you can wait for the whole thing and go back in on your blondes and do a little bit of the lightener and do a little bit of that wherever you like, even up in here if you wanted to. Even up in here if you wanted to, you could do just a little of that through here. Just the baby hairs. And you guys, the little details like this, you're going to work with the round of the head and you're going to do a brick lace. So I'm going to come from the edge of this foil and I'm going to work with the round of the head and meet it that way. So that's my parting right there. That's my first parting. I want her to have a couple of pieces popping out like right there.
Do you ever do back to back or do you?
Oftentimes, the question was, will I do back to back? The answer is yes. Especially if it's low lighting, you could do highlight, low light, highlight, and not skip. But this one, I really want her to have just a pop of color in the front. So, and this is a neat technique. Do you know did you guys ever used to watch Sex and the City?
Oh, yes.
So I should ask you, I'm in New York, I hope that some of you would watch Sex and the City. So again, see how her front hairline is? And this is where I'm at. So my next parting is going to come down this way because my guideline is the front hairline. You see that? Some people's hair, you may have to come, you know how sometimes the hairline goes down on one side? So you have to foil that way. Anyway, Sarah Jessica Parker, I think, started this I think she had a big influence on hair color. I don't know if anybody would agree. And I think a lot of it had to do with when she was pregnant and when she wasn't pregnant. Because I think she wouldn't do it half the time when she was pregnant on the show. And they would do a show and she would have her roots showing. And somebody would take a picture of that and everybody would think, oh, that's cool. Let's start doing rooty hair color. That's a new thing too. Do you ever see, oftentimes people are creating wigs. I'm going to literally take that whole last section. That's a perfect 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to take the entire last section for a little bit more of a dramatic effect. It's a nice thin 1/8 of an inch parting, and I'm going to foil that whole front thing. Anyway, I think that's what happens is a lot of times celebrities will be out and about and they haven't had their color done, and photographers captured it, and that's what started that look where people want to have roots. So now we're actually teaching people how to go in and add roots and drop my clips everywhere. Thank you, sir. Anybody have any other questions about the technique? I did want to mention that, remember we were talking about selecting lightener, and it has to do with your being honest with yourself as a stylist, how many highlights you do, how many clients you have that day, how fast you are as a stylist, how light you want the hair to become when you're highlighting. These are all the things you have to be honest with yourself about.